Okay. Last night I broke the string on the guitar, and then I measured the string that came off the guitar, which said 8.5, using my micro caliper tool. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up, and it says 0.5 here at the end, so I would need to zero that out, so everything's gonna start from a beginning. And then we're going to go ahead and measure this string. I have to do this because this string was just laying in a box over there. That's how I have them. See, it says 0.8 itself. So 9s are actually 8.5, but they don't want to call them 8.5. They call them 9s. No, I don't know what that's about, but that's the number I had last night was 8.52. Maybe my caliper ain't so accurate, or maybe the strings are really 8.5 and they're just calling them 9s. I do like to do things several times in a row just to make sure. That way if it changes I have to ask myself, is there a reason why the numbers are different? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and set this string in this guitar. And what I want you to look at is, see how it has a bend in it, the string? We want to use that when we put this in the guitar. So I'm going to thread it through the tailpiece of this Gibson Studio, and then let it dangle so that that curve now is going this way. We really don't want that curve going this way or this way, but if you just hold it in this manner, that curve comes out working for us. It causes, the weight of it causes it to go straight up and down. Next we want to see, like I like to do, is immediately I want to set the hole that's in the peg head so that it goes the direction the string is going to be in. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this on through here like this. Okay, now I need to give myself some working room, and I've learned from experience that if I hold it right about here and I pull it up to just about this part of my hand, I need that much for this little bitty string, otherwise it's going to slip out. So that's how much room is actually, when I wind it up, it's going to take. So at this point here I'm going to go ahead and give it a kink right there, and that's going to mark where I want that string to start bending, and then the rest of it, it's going to take up on the peg head as I tighten it, and that's going to give it enough wraps that it's going to keep it from slipping off. Okay, so then at this point too, what I'll do is I'll look at what I have here for a kink. Sometimes I might want that a little tighter, but again, because it's the E string, pushing this to make it a tighter kink is going to make it take a chance of snapping it, and means I'll have to get another string, right? So what we're doing with that kink is we're going to pull it back this way. Now you see how I got that, and hold it like this as you begin to tighten it. Okay, and just like the other strings, we want that string going to this side, the inside of that peg head, not the outside. So I need to make sure I turn it the proper direction. And what I'm going to do as I'm turning it also is I'm going to take this string. Yeah, see, it just popped out of there because that kink I had in there wasn't good enough. Okay, let's try this again. I'm going to actually try to put more of a kink in that. Somebody took my kink maker, so I'm going to use this instead. Yeah, I'm not the only one here who works in this shop. Okay, so see, I've tightened that, pinched it down so that's even tighter this time. So then again, I want to bring it back here and hold it into that hole that's in the peg head so it's nice and tight, and it pulls that kink right back to that slot, so it actually kind of locks in there for me, and that's what my objective was. Yeah, I'm losing my whole objective. I'm losing this whole test here, because once you get a problem here, it really becomes difficult to set the string right. These small strings are such a problem for me. I'm just a brute. I don't know how to handle them. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and continue with it because I don't have a choice, or I waste the money the string cost me. So I'm going to try to hold it so that as it tightens up, okay, this is actually going to work for me. It's coming around, and what my main objective is to make sure there's no airspace where I made that kink, and as it enters the peg head, because if there is, it won't hold a tune for me well. It'll become a problem and make tuning very difficult. It causes a space where the metal could spring, and as it gets too tight, it wants to slip through there, and then you want to loosen it up, and it pulls back. It makes a little spring action, and I can see I got this kind of screwed up. That kink may not come out of, may not work for me well here. But what I'm also going to do is, the first time around, that was underneath the string as I'm playing it. This time around, I'm going to put that on top, and that's going to give it kind of like a half hitch lock on the string, so that's going to give it more of a way to keep that string from slipping and becoming loose. And see, as you can see now, there's no slack in here like I pulled it up, because that amount I showed you is just about the right amount of string to pull this around, so you don't have 10 wraps around here, and there's problems with having that many wraps. It doesn't look good, but it's not necessary. If you can't get this kink little line to bite on the peg head, it's never going to hold properly, no matter how many wraps you put on it. I mean, that may be like counterintuitive to physics, but when it comes to causing a guitar to tune, any play you get in here makes a drastic difference in the frequency that comes across the guitar. Okay, so that string may hold, and what we're going to do now is check it out, tune it up. And I put these things underneath the body so that neck hangs freely like this, okay? That's very important too. We don't want anything pushing on the neck. So let me get that turned up and plugged in and see what that string looks like. Okay, make sure my dials are turned up so that the electricity actually flows through my circuit. Okay, here's your needle again. Let's see what I could do to help you see that. Okay. There it says it's at a 2B. Now E is going to be above that B, so I'm going to continue to tighten the string. Man, it's awfully tight. Okay, see it says 4D. Now I know the E is above the D, so I'm going to keep coming around with it slowly. This string is not my friend. I always snap them right about here. Bink! Okay, I have to go one more cycle up from D to E. Okay, what I'm also going to do too is I'm going to check this second string here. And then I'm going to listen to it here. And then play the first string again. And make sure that my first string is not already too high, because I don't want to be shooting to the next octave on the E. So my second string, and I'm holding it here where it should make an E sound on the 5th fret, and it is. And that first string sounds low, so I'm good to go and continue to tighten it and make it go higher. Okay, now it did say we're coming around to the first string E. There you go, and that string's going to hold. And I could tell by the way it's not really wavering in there that the makeup that I did to the peg head isn't so terrible as I thought. It's actually going to work pretty good. It's holding, it was easy. That suggests to me that it was a good makeup. Okay. Also notice how I stifle the other strings, because if this string starts to ring, the harmonics go through the guitar and back to the other strings, and the other strings want to start moving, and that will cause fluctuations in here. See how it's starting to go low and then it wants to go high? That's because all those sounds are going through the guitar to the other strings. The other strings finally pick up the sound, they try to match it, and as they're trying to match it, they're making other sounds themselves, and this is picking it up. So I hold down the other strings so I can get a pure tone out of the only string I want, which is that one. Okay. Okay, and that's just the basics of how you're going to start making your strings. I'll actually make a video and we'll go through the whole process of all 6 strings. But it is this little bitty E string that makes the biggest problems. And that was the hardest one to put in. And I actually did a fine job on that one. I can see how it's locked around in a half hitch going around the peg head here. So it's going to hold very tight, and I could prove that it held well by the way the needle's not going back and forth. And I'll give you a letter when I go to put the video on for how to put all 6 strings on at one time, right?